The Western genre grew out of two distinct traditions, the Wild West show and the early frontier stories best exemplified by the works of James Fenimore Cooper. From the Wild West shows, the Western would take its distinctive look and style. The bucking broncos, the 10-gallon hats, the six-shooters, and the last-minute rescue of the beleaguered settlers by the cavalry were all taken from these shows. From Cooper's frontier stories, the genre would take its characters and themes. Natty Bumppo, the protagonist of Cooper's Leatherstocking Tales, the most famous of which is The Last of the Mohicans, is a perennial outsider.
Chingachgook, you warned me about people like you.
Oh, he did?
He said, do not try to understand them. Yes, and do not try to make them understand you. That is because they are a breed apart and make no sense.
A man whose violent and naturalistic ways put him at odds with civilization, yet whose unique skills and capacity for violence are necessary in order to bring civilization about. Most Western heroes would either conform to or attempt to subvert this archetype. From Cooper, we also get the central conflict of the Western, the wilderness versus civilization. The popular narrative is that the Western served as a justification for manifest destiny, the triumph of civilization over the wilderness, and of white Europeans over indigenous Indian nations. But many Westerns would take a different tack, portraying civilization as corrupt, while the wilderness offers an escape to a more pure and wholesome way of living.
Well, they're saved from the blessings of civilization.
Most Westerns exist somewhere between these two extremes. Cooper's works, for example, portray the wilderness as a place where civilization can be purified and reborn.
This is the story of a land, of the people who lived on it in the year 1870, and of a man whose name was Cochise. He was an Indian, leader of the Chiricahua Apache tribe.
Westerns borrow very generously from actual history, but are rarely beholden to it. Most, though certainly not all, take place between the end of the Civil War and the end of the Mexican Revolution in 1920. The events most commonly portrayed or referred to in Westerns are the gunfight at the OK Corral, the Battle of Little Bighorn, and the Lincoln County War, all of which took place in this period. Major historical figures that show up time and time again in Westerns, whether in name or figuratively, include Jesse James, Wyatt Earp, General Custer, Cochise, Geronimo, and Billy the Kid. Early silent Westerns were not all that different from Wild West shows. Edwin S. Porter's The Great Train Robbery is the most famous example of this. One of the bank robbers from that film was played by Gilbert Anderson, better known as Bronco Billy. Bronco Billy went on to star in over 100 short Western films for the S&A Film Manufacturing Company, a movie studio that he founded. He was the first major star of what would become known as the series Western. Meanwhile, big-time directors such as D.W. Griffith and Thomas H. Ince were producing more serious and sophisticated Western shorts. Already, the two great traditions of the Western movie genre, the A-Western and the B-Western, were emerging.